So how are you guys? You great?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, fantastic, thanks.
Hey there, Jules. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you, and we're picking you up nice and clear on the H6 as well. I want to say thank you, Julie, for ringing me, because she was like, "Oh, we should test this," and I was like, "You know what? It's not a bad idea," and it wasn't working. So I would have made a complete fool of myself and rang you guys, and it wouldn't have worked. As well, I want to give a shout out to Kat Marek, who is just currently, which is why I'm not watching anymore. Sorry, Kat, is doing live yoga on Facebook for the kids. You know, there's
Excellent.
been lots of great initiatives shown during this difficult coronavirus pandemic, and a lot of use of things online, which is why I'm so glad we managed to come and do this today, because this was nearly cancelled because of everything that was going on. So this is great. Yeah. So how have you been, Julie?
Yeah, just obviously missing I'm a dog walker, guys. So just been missing walking the dogs, and we've been trying to sort out with our association whether we could still walk dogs for key workers, because I've got 2 clients at both NHS.
Yes.
But I got my insurance people confirmed, and obviously insurance companies are quite clever at finding little loopholes, aren't they? And it states very clearly, if you're not following government advice, and we're not listed as a key worker, so I think they would use that as a reason not to pay. So I've taken the decision to close the business down for the moment. My clients have been brilliant, though. They've been really, really good about it.
Yeah,
it's so hard, isn't it? It's such a judgment call for everybody at the moment. You want to kind of keep your business running, you need the money, but there's this this wider piece to keep the vulnerable safe and to do our duty as well, isn't it? It's such a difficult call.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I'm back in 2 I'm still working. I'm a key worker. And I was saying to this, I was on a show last night, a live one, and I was saying I felt so privileged. So like I was on the front line being a key worker, you know, I felt like I was doing something decent, you know. And I still think I am. I mean, I go to work and I'm a support worker, I look after young people, and my actual job role is to be there. That's my role. So I'm happy I'm doing that. But then I see people on Facebook that are like, oh, I'm on my 3rd margarita for the evening. I'm about to sit down and watch the 3rd Matrix. Oh, this has been great. And I'm just like, oh, what? You know. So, you know, it is painful. And there's people out there that are actually doing real hard work as well. And David, you wanted to talk about that, didn't you, today, about the people that are going out there and helping out a lot with the Royal British Legion and the people that are connected to yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Royal British Legion frontline staff are classed as key workers for the government. All frontline charity workers are. And that surprises quite a lot of people. It surprised me when I found out we were a key worker. But the main reason is really, obviously, there's a lot of elderly folks that are quite rightly worried at the moment. A lot of vulnerable people with those kind of medical issues that are prime candidates to get the coronavirus. And they're basically the Royal British Legion's clients. That's our bread and butter, if you like. Just because the men and women that we support have served doesn't mean they're any less vulnerable, any less unlikely to get coronavirus. And so they're self-isolating just like anyone else. And so basically, our frontline staff are classed as key workers, and some of our fantastic volunteers that we've got by association are key workers. And so they're going out doing what they can, obviously within the confines of social distancing, and just helping in any way we possibly can, really.
Yeah, I mean... Go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, how many sort of like charity, I suppose, your key workers, because I guess there's admin guys as well, isn't there? But how many actually, you know, do you have an approximation of how many you've got, like, sort of mobilised across the UK, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, not yet. So our frontline staff, we generally have between 10 and 15 staff per area. And we're based on about 15 different areas in the UK. So you've got somewhere between, probably about 100 and 150 staff. Generally speaking, now we're all asked to work from home, as everybody else is.
Yeah, like me.
There you go. So we're really just trying to get the support that we can do from our homes. So if we need anything kind of purchasing, we can do it remotely from home. If we need to kind of get an occupational therapist in to go and assess someone, then we'll order an occupational therapist that can still go into the home. So we can actually do a lot of our support, not one-to-one, but we can still do it remotely from home, which is really handy.
Yeah.
But then, there is those kind of national networks of our branches. And I couldn't even put a figure on that. There are tens of thousands, aren't there?
Yeah.
And I suppose the role of them is the community focus. So they live in everyone's community. So they're based in Shrewsbury. We've got a Shrewsbury branch.
Yeah.
We've got a fantastic Oakengates branch over in Telford. We've got a little Wem branch where I live here in Wem.
Oh, okay.
So, they're absolutely everywhere in every community. And some are doing things, others aren't, because obviously they've got their own limitations as well.
Yeah, I've started seeing some on social media, so I wanted to do a bit of a shout out to Oakengates branch, Bass Church branch, Shifnal and Ford, because they've all started phoning around the vulnerable veterans, well, just the veterans in their community, the ones that are their branch members or that they know of, checking to see if they do need their shopping doing or if they need medication picking up or anything. And there's ones I've spotted so far, either on social media or while I've been doing my phone calls. And it's just so inspirational. It's amazing that they are doing it. And I'm really, really proud that they are.
There are so many tools that are available sort of online and so on a lot, of all the social medias. That's good, So to see the more mature sort of veterans or people that are affected by this or could be affected by this, making use of those things, I was really getting, like, there's been PE with Joe. I'm sure the kids have been doing this on YouTube. This guy, but I mean, I've mentioned him a few times, but he was saying today there's a 94-year-old, granny sort of doing the workouts with him and stuff, and that's brilliant because I was reading one of your stories on the stories that you sent me on the email, and they were saying that dance classes have been cancelled and things like that. Well, there's so much online there available. I mean, like Kat Merrick, who I was just talking about now, just do local lady just doing yoga for the kids, and that can be seen all around the world.
Yeah. So. And I did a fitness, like a 80s style aerobics class last night.
Oh, nice.
With like my old fitness instructor in the village where I don't live anymore. And I was trying to work out how to watch it. And it's paid. She's obviously, because she's self-employed, so she's got no income at the moment. So we are paying her by direct debit. I'm not very good with technology, as Al will contest.
Well, you helped me today.
Well, I sort of selected what I thought was watching her live, and somehow, I don't even know how, I started one of these watch parties. And then loads of my Facebook friends are all joining and watching, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope none of them are paying her. Brilliant. This can't be right. And I just didn't realise how it works. But obviously it can get out to everyone, which is the great thing about, obviously, the good thing about the technology. And I suppose we're lucky that hasn't been hit.
Yet.
Yeah.
So we could maybe have a look and see if there's any military PTIs based in Shropshire that fancy doing a watch party or something, and we can get it into some veterans' homes.
That'd be a great idea.
Although, military fitness is quite hardcore, but
So let's talk a bit about the Royal British Legion then, because I like to find out a few things like about what the Royal British Legion is, because not a lot of people, not a lot of people, there are some people that won't understand the sort of values and things like that. So we talk about your job roles. So Jenny, what is it that you do for the Royal British Legion?
Yeah, I'm a community fundraiser. So I look after all the funds that are raised in Shropshire. So there's one of me or two of me in each county across the whole country. So anything that's basically to do with the Poppy Appeal and fundraising in general, from individual fundraisers who are doing maybe Kilimanjaro. We've got someone doing the Welsh 3000, which is I think 14 peaks in Wales, not coming below 3,000 meters above sea level. So I'll look after those. Any corporate sponsors that we have, anyone that runs a business that wants to get involved, either donating volunteering hours or making us Charity of the Year, I get involved. But my main kind of function in my role is looking after our 52 Poppy Appeal organisers. So they are men and women who volunteer and run the Poppy Appeal in their towns, cities, villages, hamlets. And we go from kind of very, very small poppy appeals that raise maybe about £800 right through to Shrewsbury, which raises, we're on about £74,000 this year. We did 84 last year. It was a big year last year. So I kind of help them through their journey, provide admin support, help with recruiting, and just day-to-day support of what they do, because they are incredible. They do it all for free. The reason you can get a poppy during November is because of those people. They're the ones that put it out there, that organise their own volunteers, that do the paperwork, that do the counting, the banking, the thank yous. They are an amazing team. So I'm really, really proud to kind of be part of their team and help them.
It's quite a nice ritual. It's one of those things that I like doing every year, is taking my boy to the guy to buy a poppy, because it puts a smile on the guy who's selling the poppy's face, and it teaches my boy about kind of what we do to look after people that have done amazing things for us, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we had a really special year last year, and we got a local D-Day veteran, who Dave can tell you about, who hadn't been able to volunteer in a long time. So we just made it work. We got the befrienders in place that were visiting him, brought him along to Tesco, and he was just like, he was the centre of attention. It was amazing. Everyone had to queue up to meet him. It was incredible. And so it's really nice how we can work across teams as well, like that. And I work very closely with Dave, and Dave's advice and information officer and his case officers and the befrienders. So it's all quite circular, how we can support each other, but it's
so how does David, how does your role how does your role differ from Jenny's then, David?
Yeah, so I've got a West Midlands focus, so the whole of West Mids for us is kind of Shropshire, Staffordshire, Black Country, cover Warwickshire, big area. And Birmingham as well. Yeah, it's a nice big area. So I know. So bless them. I manage a team of case officers and advice and information officers. And basically, Jenny's role is to help the Legion bring the money in, and my job is to spend it, which is great. It's like the kind of the opposite relationship that I have with my wife, where she spends it and I earn it. But I hope she doesn't listen to this, actually.
You know, the roles are very much reversed in my relationship. It's usually me that's been like, "Oh, babe, I've just bought Disney Plus," and she's like, "You did what now?" You know.
Oh, it's worth it, Alex. It's good.
It's great.
Keep the kids busy.
I realised after buying it, I looked at Disney Plus and I was kind of like, "Wow, this is definitely more for the little one than for me." Like, yes. I mean, I've had my fill already. 3 days is I've had it, and I've done my part. So the Royal British Legion. Can we go back and sort of talk about where it all began? Where did the Royal British Legion come? When did it start, and what did it start for? A little bit of a history lesson, just a brief, basic one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it started back in 1921. So next year we're going to celebrate our 100-year centenary, which is really exciting. And it came out of World War One, and there was back in 1921, there was no NHS, there was no benefit system, there was no welfare system. So guys from the front line came back with all these horrific injuries. They came back with shell shock, which is now what we know as PTSD. A lot of limb loss veterans, and there was just nowhere to turn to. There was no support, and there were no jobs for them. So a lot of guys basically in local communities set up these welfare offers locally in towns and villages. And very quickly it became known that these networks existed. And so they all got together and formed a legion of support. And that's where the Royal British Legion was founded from.
It's really great. I mean, you talk about history before the NHS, and I mean, we're based in the Parade Shopping Centre in Shrewsbury, and that place is one of the precursors for the NHS. You know, people putting money in that are a bit more wealthy to help the others that can't afford the healthcare. And same as the Royal British Legion, you know, people come together and sort of helping those that have been affected by these atrocities. How has it kind of changed over the years? Is it still got the same sort of values that it had back in 1921?
I think our values are shifting with society's values, I think. So, I mean, a really good example of that is with the LGBTQ plus work that we're doing recently. So historically, it was illegal to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer in the armed forces. You could not come out because you would be court-martialed and sent to prison, and you'd be taken out of the armed forces. So that fortunately got repealed. I can't think the exact date, but it was not as long ago as you would think. So obviously, quite rightly, we want to celebrate that fact that law was repealed and that you can be openly gay in the armed forces now. So it's right that our values and our beliefs continue in line with that vision. So we've set up our own LGBTQ plus branch nationally to support those guys and girls that perhaps had that loss of identity taken away from them when they were in the forces.
Yeah.
But now want to be seen in their own right as openly gay and as a veteran as well. So that something like that is just a shift in how we've moved with society, really.
Yeah.
And in terms of, obviously, you'd said it started up originally as a result of World War One. In terms of the veterans that you guys support, sort of, how far along does that come now in terms of all the different sort of wars, or I suppose I'm trying to word it in the right way, if you know what I mean. But
yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, our average age of the persons that we support is 55. So as you can imagine, that's pretty much right bang in the middle of 0 to 100. So we are supporting guys that have just done 6 months in the armed forces and have come out. It wasn't quite for them, and they're struggling on Civvy Street.
Oh, okay.
But we also then support, the D-Day veterans of this world, and 95-year-olds that were on the beaches of Normandy fighting for our freedom. So our support is right across the board, and we don't just support those that have served in the forces. We also support the spouses and partners of those as well.
Right, me, yeah. I'm a partner. I'm a military partner.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So in terms of, sorry, Al.
No, please go. Carry on, Ju.
Just quite interested in this. So, like you're just saying about, even if they're in the army and they've perhaps not seen service, when I say service, they've not seen any warfare of any description.
Active, so
yeah, thank you, active. I knew there was a word for it.
There's a word for everything.
And I do, yeah, I know. I have active service, yeah. So, like you say, just 6 months, and they come out, and they've only been in for 6 months, so they're probably youngsters, I'd guess. Relatively young.
I mean, we've changed our policies recently to fall in line with what the Ministry of Defence class as a veteran.
Okay.
So technically speaking, anybody that served 1 day in any of the branches of the armed forces can now be classed as a veteran, and therefore is eligible for our support.
Wow.
So now that's not to mean that we're going to throw money left, right, and centre at every individual, but they're all readily available, can access our advice, our information, our guidance, our networks, our support, and if it comes to it, that financial package of support that we can give. And I think, Jenny, you'll know more than this, being a military spouse, but the military life is so unique that even if you served 1 day, or even if it's been a week, you could be asked to do something on a training ground exercise that could have a severe knock-on effect to life. So it was only right that we kind of tried to incorporate the holistic view of what a veteran is.
Yeah. That makes sense.
with like things like Help for Heroes, and there's lots of other companies that are put together now. Like, does each sort of charity have its own sort of place? Do they do different things? Like the British Legion. Obviously, I mean, whenever I think of the British, I was a cadet when I was a kid. I never went in the army, but I was a cadet, right? So we did a lot of like selling poppies and things, and Remembrance Sundays and things. And I always remember like the Royal British Legion being for the guys from World War II or from the Falklands, or, the people that are a bit older. Whereas Help for Heroes seems to be more directed to people that were wounded in recent wars. That people that need like prosthetic legs and things like that. So my question is does the British Legion have its place, and the Help for Heroes have its place?
Yeah, I'll start, Jenny. I mean, firstly, we all work together. So behind the scenes, you won't know this, but when we do some casework for any client that needs a bit of help, at the back end of the casework, once we understand that person's needs, we'll actually speak to, if they've been in the army, we'll speak to their former regiment. So if they've been in the parachute regiment, we speak to the paras. If they've been in the RAF, we might speak to the RAF Benevolent Fund. If they've suffered limb loss, we'd speak to Blesma, who are a fantastic limb loss charity. If they've had mental health problems, we'd have spoken to Combat Stress when they were taking referrals. So we actually all work together anyway. But yeah, each one, I suppose, has a particular specialism, I would say. So Walk with the Wounded are a fantastic local charity as well. Yeah. And they're focusing on veterans getting into employment. So we're by far the biggest national armed forces charity. And because of that, we're kind of at that heart of that national network. And so we're able to fund projects for other charities. So we did fund Combat Stress. We have funded the Imperial Blast Centre Injuries Research Lab historically. And we've just recently funded part of the Defence Recovery Centre down in, was it London, I think it was? So we kind of, each organisation has its place. But ultimately, we like to think we're at the heart of that network and that we work with all others, as do the others, and solely for the betterment of the clients, really.
I mean, locally, we have the Battleback Centre. So that was initially funded by, I think I'm right in saying this, by Help for Heroes, who basically built it. And then we took it on with the running costs. So that's just in Lilleshall. In Shropshire, and we're incredibly proud to have that on our doorstep. I've done quite a few tours there, and that's for wounded, injured and sick service personnel and veterans. So if you ever get the chance to check the place out, it is incredible and inspirational, and that's a perfect example of two military charities working together for
Where is that, Jenny?
The Lilleshall Sports Centre.
Right, yeah.
But they're incredible. We're hopefully doing, it's probably going to be moved now, but we were doing a poppy ride, our second annual poppy ride from there to the National Memorial Arboretum, which is one of our sister charity, and back again. And it's incredible. So we can showcase kind of what we have in the Midlands for facilities.
There's a question from our Dee Dee. She can't be here today, but she's writing some questions. She wrote, she said the civvy world can be very confusing for long-serving veterans. This is probably more towards Jenny, being in your situation. What is your advice for them when they come home into civvy world to make it as easy a transition as possible? Especially, I'm going to add, with what's going on at the moment, and you can't go anywhere. You
can't go anywhere. Connections, I think, is really, really important. My partner's still serving, so it's slightly different at the moment. But there are some amazing groups out there. There's veteran breakfast groups up and down the country. And I think they're very active on social media. So we have one in Shrewsbury, they're in Telford. I'm trying to think where I think might be one in Market Drayton. So if you just kind of Google, Facebook search, it's like finding that home from home community that maybe many people missed. Definitely look into your local branches, because some of them do active kind of social get-togethers. I know Oakengate's branch once a year hire a coach that they fundraise for throughout the year and take all the old boys and girls, but you don't have to be an old boy or a girl, to go to the National Memorial Arboretum, so they can go and see that and pay their respects and just have that bonding exercise, really. I think that there's a lot of support out there now. There's things for spouses who want to set up their own businesses, because it's very difficult working as a spouse. I'm incredibly lucky. We decided to settle in Shropshire. We're both born and bred from here, and I really didn't want to travel around the country. He can move every 2 years, and it makes it very, very difficult to settle, have a network, be with your family, and get a job. So there are quite a lot of places out there now that are helping partners to settle, kind of establish a business, establish a job, help you with your CV. And I think the same if you've just come out, we do a lot. Is it ex-forces, David, we work with? Helping them get into a decent career, not just kind of being spat out the other side and left to fend for yourself. There is that support there to get you into the right career that you can then, because often they come out of the military before actual retirement age and before they'll get a pension. So I think it's good to have a focus. Definitely look into your local regimental associations as well and see if there's a network, because they kind of know, they understand, they know what you've gone through, they know the lingo, they have the same strange sense of humour quite often.
Yeah.
They use the same phrases. So, the Royal Marines have a whole other language that I'm kind of semi-fluent in now after 11 years.
I imagine.
Jenny, can I just ask a question on, because obviously this is about, people are coming out, there's the, like you say, there are some events which, if I'm right in what you're saying, would be set up by like a local branch would organise events where they could get to, obviously getting together at the moment isn't an option, but obviously, there's the online sort of aspect of things, but also what about those veterans that have come away with obviously PTSD as well, which I know you mentioned right at the beginning, Dave was saying, but in terms of that, so there's that added complication sitting behind the fact they've just come out, they can't find a job, and they've got PTSD. So what sort of helps there for them?
Dave, did you want to pick that one?
I thought of course. So there's actually quite a lot. So I think the most important thing to get across is that PTSD is no more prevalent in the armed forces community than it is in the civilian community, which is quite a big shock for people. But what you do see is with those that have seen active duty and have got PTSD due to their service, it is a lot more complex than a standard civilian's PTSD. Yeah. So that's the major difference. So it's not more prevalent, but it can be more complex. Yeah. So the NHS basically are the go-to supplier now for PTSD support. So for vets. So the National Health Service called the TIL service, Transition Intervention Liaison Service, and that's where we do all of our signposting too. And then from that, there's two routes, and you can go either into community mental health if your symptoms aren't overly troubling, or if you are classed as a complex case, then there is something called a complex treatment service, which again is delivered currently by the NHS, and that's specifically for veterans as well.
So that would be things like for potential suicide, sort of, people on the suicide spectrum.
Yeah, we deal with suicide ideation quite a lot at the Legion. So when people call our contact centre, which is 0808 802 8080, little plug, our contact centre are trained in mental health first aid, and we sadly do get a few suicidal callers. So where we can, we try to support them immediately. If there's obviously a threat to life, we work with our blue light services and get the guys and girls the help they need. But if they just need kind of someone to talk to, a diagnosis, assessing, we make those referrals into the NHS. But as Jenny said, the big thing then is linking them in to give these guys and girls a reason to live, give them the links back into the military life that they loved, try to integrate them into local communities. So if they love books, let's get them into a local book club here in Wem in the library. If they love boating, well, let's get them into the Shrewsbury Boat Club. Whatever it is, we've got the local knowledge hopefully to remove that social isolation and to remove those negative thoughts from that person's head and just get them thinking externally and thinking, life can be good if they choose to live it.
There was something that happened years ago. I used to work security at Asda, and there was something like I saw firsthand sort of how bad anniversaries and PTSD and those bad memories can really affect someone. There's a guy I called Jock, and the reason I call him Jock is because he was a Scottish guy, and it got too long for me to ask his name, and it got weird, so I just called him Jock. Right? The one day I always used to see him in, and he was always such a nice guy. But the one day he tried to walk out with a litre of vodka, and I stopped him, put my hand on his chest, and sort of like, whoa, what's going on? And he looked at me, had tears in his eyes were blood red, and he was just a stammering like mess. And I took the bottle off him. I was like, go home and sleep this off, buddy. I didn't process him, didn't call the police, didn't do any embarrass him or anything like that. The next day he came in, he was with his wife. He came up to me and he shook my hand and he was in tears and he was like, you helped me so much yesterday. Thank you so much. Oh. And it was like, it was a memorial of the Falklands. It brought things back and it really messed with his head. Yeah. And from that moment, he would just come and talk to me, and it was really nice. And I think it's, like you said, finding those communities and finding the people that understand what these guys are going through, because not everybody does. There was another story where there's a guy who just come back from Iraq, or I think it was Afghan. It's got to be Afghan. Came back from Afghanistan, and he again he tried to walk out with something. He was a shoplifter. And rather than dealing with it calmly, the guards from where I was working, they all just jumped on him, and this guy went berserk. Obviously, you can imagine. He went, and he was about 8'5". You know, he was massive, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be terrible," and it was. If they understood, if they knew how to sort of approach this situation, you know, it would have been better. But not everybody's got that knowledge.
I mean, what we've tried to do, Alex, is we've tried to work with core partners and key partners in our local communities. So the phrase that we're using is veterans aware. So you'll see now that we're working very closely with Shropshire Council on something called the Armed Forces Outreach Programme. So we're based in Palmer's Cafe in Shrewsbury, usually down in Ludlow, here in Wem Town Hall. And we're trying to access those veterans that we just want to come and talk.
Is there like
in general?
Is there like a social media like page for them where people can sort of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to give that a shout out now? So you don't know what it is?
I think it's at Shropshire Covenant or Shrop Covenant.
I'm going to look for it now.
Twitter and Facebook.
If you just search Shropshire Armed Forces Covenant on Facebook, Twitter. I don't know if they're on Instagram or I don't think so. I'm not sure. Possibly. They should come up, and they've got kind of like the crest.
You guys keep chatting. I'm going to find it. So
yeah, I'll do a little bit of searching as well.
The postman just came, and now the dog's barking. I thought that.
You said that was going to happen. Wow, that was amazing.
I've got my other half is just knocking on the window to show me that he's caught a mouse inside. We've got a humane mouse trap because a mouse has been getting inside one of the cars in the back and eating away at the fabric.
Oh,
it's an old car. The seats are going, but it doesn't really matter. But it's like, so we put this humane trap in, and he's just walked past the window showing me this mouse in his bathroom. And he's now, I don't know where he's gone with it to try and get rid of it. But yeah, can I, with this, because obviously with the situation that's going on now, and, you know, obviously you've got the veterans, you know, be them whatever age they are, but they're of an age group that are obviously, certainly those from the old, you know, the previous wars are certainly from an age group that are those in that most vulnerable category. Yeah. But equally, what I've seen and come across is they have this, I was in the war spirit and seem to keep going out quite happily and mixing with people. And obviously that's probably quite a concern.
Yeah.
And it's how are you guys sort of perhaps managing that, you know, they are the vulnerable. Yes, they may well have felt they've had their time. And, you know, no one's going to stop them going to the shops or doing whatever and mixing with their friends and going for cups of tea. But is there anything out there that you're doing for that, you know, in terms of that support?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got, give or take 450 active cases for people that have called us for support at the moment. So the first thing that we've done, the second that the coronavirus started to take hold was once we identified those vulnerable groups from the government, we called all or tried to attempt to phone all 450 clients, see if they're vulnerable, tell them, stay home, you've got to stay home. The next thing that we're doing, we know all of our D-Day veterans because we only celebrated D-Day a couple of years ago, which was really good. So we're calling all our D-Day veterans. So Les, if he's listening to the podcast, stay at home. He is our sole surviving D-Day veteran in Shrewsbury that we're aware of. So we're all very precious of Les. But it's just reminding them why it's important. And, you know, when you hear of the really sad cases of people that we have lost to the coronavirus, nobody wants to go out like that. And so I think when you take away it's just flu, you take away some of the myths around the seriousness of it. And you tell them it's a respiratory disease. I think the older population is starting to realise now, hopefully, how severe it is.
I think there was that it's going around on Facebook now. It's a bit shameful and it's quite bad, but there's that interview that was on
Radio Sutton. Southampton.
Yeah, and she got ridiculed, basically, rightly so, on the radio because she was like, well, if other people get it, I've lived my life, I'm absolutely fine, you know. And there's going to be a lot of that and sort of belief, you know. It's kind of like, well, if I want to go to the beach, I'm going to go to the beach, you know. So the fact that woman was put in a place pretty much on the radio is going to show that actually your beliefs might not actually be the right thing, you know. I think that thing there, even though it's negative, has its place in society today. Because I think like these are unprecedented times when it comes to things like people coming into civvy world. I mean, say someone's just, their time's up. They've just come out the army today, right? They're buzzing, right? They're buzzing. They want to get out. They want to do things because they're free now, or they'll say they're on leave and they've had some real stressful times they've had to deal with, and then they're cooped up in the house, like 23 hours a day. What would you say to someone right now who's just come from a situation like that and they're cooped up in the house?
Good question. I mean, I would say hang in there, because everyone's got to realise that this isn't just the UK. This is global. I mean, this is going to happen once every 500 years. Who knows? Hopefully, this isn't the new norm. But it's so special, and the government, for all the flaws, have done their absolute best, I believe. And there is a lot of support out there, and I believe there's more measures being put out there for the self-employed today as well from the Chancellor. So as best as we can, we are all in this together, whether you're left wing, right wing, young or old, a parent or not a parent. It's affecting everybody in various different ways. And if you've just come out, I would say, fall back on what you know. The guys are always taught to adapt and overcome. I'm pretty sure that's still the motto for a lot of the armed forces. And this is just something else to adapt to for the time being and overcome it. Stay mentally strong, engage with people like you can do via Skype. This is quite new for us. The Legion is quite an old organisation. We've never done a podcast via Skype, so we're adapting.
And this is something that you guys can actually use. You can use this, and you can say we're growing. Because of times change, and let's get Derek, Arthur, Charles, and John and Peter and everybody on a Skype, and we'll have like a group therapy session over Skype. I mean, I know there are security concerns with things like that, but if we all kind of understand that we're in it together, and when we talk to each other, the sense of community doesn't die when you take that physical interaction. I mean, as long as the people can talk to each other and talk about their own shared experiences, that's a community, right?
I've actually been calling my volunteers, so I've got an aim to phone 2 to 3 a day, so I can get through all 52 in the next few weeks. And just phoning up chat, it's not about poppy appeal, it's not about volunteering. I'm glad I'm not the only one whose dog goes crazy.
So the postman's just turned up.
This postman, he's causing us trouble today, isn't he? He's like, oh.
I'm so sorry.
Mine's asleep in the sun now. He's all right for about 5 minutes. So it's been really nice for me, actually, to take some time out and speak to them directly over the phone, just seeing how they all are. So far, they're all isolating. They're doing really, really well. And it's just been nice to have that kind of 10-minute catch-up, find out how they're doing, just on a personal level. But interestingly, I've actually had a flurry of volunteers get in touch through social media. So I have gaps. So in an area where you maybe don't have a local branch, or somebody's kind of fully retired and they're no longer able to deliver the poppy appeal in their community, we have a bit of a gap. So at the moment, I've got Wellington, Bridgnorth and Dawley are my gaps currently. And basically, if there isn't a volunteer in that community, there is a chance that there won't be a poppy appeal, because there's only one of me for the county. There's only so many volunteers. And it's been quite nice, actually. I think people have been sat at home and looking what they can do in their local communities. So, yes, there's not much we can do now because we can't get out there. But I've been doing interviews over the phone, via Skype, sending like packs off so people can see what the volunteering role involves, if it's something that they would be interested in. And then we're basically holding tight until this does kind of hopefully blow over, and then we can go for a coffee and meet in person and kind of get them officially signed up. And so it's been quite hopeful, actually, that people have started to look at volunteering and getting involved in their local communities a little bit more during this time, which normally I've really struggled to recruit this time of year because it's just not in people's mindsets. But I mean, we start planning the poppy appeal January, if I'm perfectly honest, it's quite an undertaking. There's quite a lot to sort and get done. So if you live in any of those communities, please get in touch, because we might not be able to officially get out there and get you going now, but there's still a lot of behind the scenes stuff we can do.
Can you not do like a virtual poppy appeal? I don't know. I'm getting a bit of echo off someone. I don't know if it's
hang on. Let me see if it's mine.
It's only recently.
How's that?
Oh,
is that a bit better?
Yeah, that's fine. I had this idea just while you were saying that, like a virtual pop. You know how like there's something that happens in France or in some country, and they put like the flag behind themselves. Everybody tends to do that sort of stuff. What about if you sold poppies? Something they could put on their Facebook picture, but with a distinctive sort of number. A number where that says you've bought a poppy. You know, that you're not going to copy off your friends. Maybe we could do something like that, and people can display their poppies with pride on social media. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're definitely looking into the. I mean, hopefully we will be back to normal come October, but we don't know really. So I know things are being looked at as to, because I mean we're already taking some major steps towards becoming contactless, and we've trialed them I think for the past three years now. And I've done incredibly well in Shrewsbury with our contactless donations. But I think this has given us that, we do need to kick it up a gear and have a look at, how we could do things virtually. And it's kind of exciting that, we are taking things, it's our 100-year anniversary next year. And we still do, the paper poppy is still really important to us. But we'll see kind of where things go, really. Hopefully there'll be some announcements soon. We'll see.
I think, Jenny, as well, the other thing that was a great shame was obviously the bank holiday in May was all set to be our V-Day weekend. Yeah. So obviously the national events have been cancelled now down in London, and we were part of Warwick Racecourse, and I think lots of other towns and councils were going to do something lovely.
I've lost about 15 events, I think. Yeah.
So,
that's understandable.
I mean, at the moment, the Legion are getting their heads together with the government. Because we still obviously want to celebrate it in the right way. It doesn't feel right that just because the coronavirus is out there, we shouldn't kind of put the spotlight on all of these World War II veterans that ultimately gave us victory. So we're looking to see how we can do something. And I think, Alex, you're right. I think there has to be some sort of virtual way we can all celebrate that weekend. Yeah. Even if it is just staying at home and all talking to veterans if we can, or talking to each other about memories from VE Day. Anything that we can do to light that fire and to celebrate, I think is probably the right thing to try and do.
Like a virtual memory board or something.
Yeah, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Let's bring back the Harlem Shake. Let's do that. That was great.
You first, mate. You first.
If anybody's listening to this and they want to start doing Harlem Shakes and hashtag Royal British Legion poppy appeal or something, crack on. Let's do this. Let's start a revolution.
We go viral.
Let's go viral.
We've got, have you guys had like things coming in? I know obviously there's loads going on about different communities. I mean, one of the big things that we've had come up, and I know Al talked about the other day, did a shout out to them, but obviously Shrewsbury's got a lot of homeless. There is quite a lot of those are veterans, obviously with separate issues as well. And the Prince Rupert Hotel has opened its doors basically to all the homeless, which is brilliant. I mean, all right, I think they've had the incident where the odd one or two have like gone back out and slept on the street, and obviously that is their choice. We can't say they're veterans or not veterans, but in terms of that, you guys obviously as an organisation, irrelevant of coronavirus and irrelevant of any other situation that, freezing, floods, etc. What do you guys do to put in place stuff for like homeless veterans? Is that another one of these sort of subsets that you work with that deal with that? I was asking earlier, are there sort of different sort of like charities that deal with the different elements?
Yeah, so a little bit of everything. I think that the important distinction to make from the start is that you can have different types of homelessness. So, there are street homeless individuals, absolutely, and they're the individuals that you'll see on the street, possibly begging, possibly asking for different bits and bobs. So there are street homeless. There is then sofa surfers. So there are guys and girls that move from house to house, bed to bed, basically. So they surf and they've got no fixed abode. And then there are veterans,
which they definitely can't do at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are veterans who are classed as homeless because they aren't the primary individual within their home. So they might be staying at a parent's, or perhaps they're staying at a partner's, but perhaps they don't want to. They want their own place.
Okay, yeah.
So there's different types of homelessness, really, is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm technically homeless right now during this whole thing. In between properties. I am. But big shout out to Gloria for letting us use your abode. It was great.
So it's really difficult, and you're right. It depends on everyone's situation. We at the British Legion don't own any properties, so we can't put anybody into our property. But we do obviously work with both in our area, Shropshire Council. We work with the Ark. We work with Man Plate over in Telford. We work with the street homeless teams and various housing associations and authorities and landlords. Mm-hmm. So if it's right, the British Legion can pay to get somebody into private sector renting. Mm-hmm. The problem we've got is a lot of clients who are either street homeless or are homeless, may be unemployed at the same time, and trying to keep a roof over their head is more difficult than getting a roof over their head. So maintaining a tenancy, basically. Right. So, I think we could probably solve the veterans' homelessness tomorrow. We've got the money where we could just put everybody into some sort of accommodation. Yeah. But that's not right for everybody, Certain people simply cannot live alone. There are others that would never be able to afford the rent. There are others that would do various things with that property that wouldn't be right. So we've just got to treat it on a case-by-case basis, use all of our networks and our own resources as best as we can to find a solution that's right for every individual. But we're not perfect. We know that people are still homeless. But I think sometimes as well, that's not because the support's not there. I think sometimes their own situation that they find themselves in, they just can't work their way out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really important that we do actually mention the, well done, Julie, for bringing that up, because the Facebook Live podcast I did the other day, I didn't record on purpose because I wanted to just do something with the community, the guys from the Prince Rupert Hotel, working with the Ark and everybody that's been a part of that, just absolutely bloody well done for doing that, because bravo. I was speaking to my friend in Birmingham. I mean, I know Birmingham have got their bigger problem, a huge problem. It's a big city, with the homeless community. But he was like, they haven't even done anything yet. I mean, that's his word. I don't know if they actually have or not, but we actually have proof in Shrewsbury that they're doing something with the homeless community, which is fantastic. What would you say to families of veterans that are getting on a bit now during these times? What advice would you give them to keep their family safe?
I think first and foremost, stay at home. If we can, stay at home, follow government guidance. If you're not sure, pick up the phone and phone somebody that might know. Don't take any chances. It's not worth it. And if you are a veteran, if you've served in the armed forces, the Royal British Legion is open for business. We want to help. So our contact centre is 0808 802 8080. You'll have a phone conversation with someone over in Wales at our contact centre. They're lovely. And then within a couple of hours, you'll be sent straight to somebody locally at the Royal British Legion. So our Advice and Information Officer, Kenny, will probably pick up the phone to you all that need support, and he'll have a chat with you and see how we can help.
Shout out to Kenny. How's it going, Kenny? What's up?
Yeah.
I love what you got. Go on.
I don't know if this is even feasible because obviously you do hear about, veterans that for whatever reason can't cope with civvy street, and they long to be back in that environment. I mean, the NHS have called on lots of recently retired, and a lot have come back. Depending on how far this thing goes and whether a full hard lockdown is required, and obviously that is going to need service personnel, frontline service personnel, to support the police, I guess, with that. Is that even feasible? Might that help some of these individuals sort of perhaps find a different way of working themselves back into being involved in supporting the country, but with skill sets they know? Or would that actually not be probably a wise thing, depending on their scenarios of how they've come out of the army, I guess? Serving, not just the army, anything.
Yeah, I think, as you're right, I think depending on their situation, their circumstances, we do get a lot of forces leavers that were in the regulars, so the full-time soldiers, sailors, airmen, and then they rejoin to join the reserve force.
Okay.
So 11 Signal Brigade would love a shout out, I'm sure, locally.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to join the reserves, now is probably a fantastic time to do that, because they are at the front line of fighting the coronavirus.
Yeah.
We've got the 202 Field Hospital based up at Copthorne Barracks still. It's a reserve unit still based up there with 6 rifles.
Mm-hmm.
So they are both being stood up right now to go and fight the coronavirus, quite rightly. We need that help. So, if anyone wants to join the reserves, it's all online.
Nice.
It's really easy to do. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I just want to say...
Many of these... Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, go on, Jenny, go on.
I was going to say, many of these have had experience as well with the Ebola crisis. I've got friends whose partners went out to help with that. We've had people from 202, from Gaboin, the orthopaedic hospital as well, that went out and dealt with that. So I'm sure many of them kind of know what's coming and will be very well prepared for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say before that, well done. That was really good, actually. It's good that there's a bit of experience there. Like, it's not something they're wandering into blindly. They know what they're doing. But, I want to say to the locals, number one, if you're one of these people that are ignoring what the Prime Minister's saying and you're going out and you're on your jollies and you're up Snowdon and you're out there and doing this sort of, go home.
Having a house party.
Go home. Yeah. Stop being... I mean, I heard something in Coventry that a day after the Prime Minister shut the country down, there was like 30 people having a public barbecue. What?
Yeah.
That's
They
crazy.
shut a house party down last night as well, didn't there? I think there was a small house party going on in Shrewsbury, and there was a bigger one going on in Birmingham.
Oh,
God.
crazy. Do your bit to help people in this situation, because inevitably, if you're not listening, then we are going to get the army on the streets, which is understandable, especially the youths that are out there that are kind of like, man, I'm 6'2", I don't need to listen to your mom. They're not American, but they're not going to listen to mom. They're going to go out or they're going to drive her crazy. Just like if you see army on the streets, don't panic. Support them. Get behind them.
Yeah, totally.
Because
we can obviously use our emotional bribery to say, we've got World War II soldiers, sailors and airmen living in our towns, living in our villages. It's going to be these heroes that ultimately suffer and pay the ultimate price, should I say, for people's naivety, stupidity, and not listening to the government advice.
Yeah.
So do the right thing by those people, by our heroes, and just stay at home and listen to the advice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Do you guys want to give people some links and some places where they can go and communicate with you locally? I mean, I guess the Royal British Legion have got a big page where it's a corporate thing and it's huge and it's nationwide, but have you got pages where people can go locally to communicate with you guys?
Yeah. Do you want to do yours, Dave, first?
Oh, I can do, yeah. So we're on Facebook and Twitter. So we're either the West Mids Poppy or the West Mids British Legion. And I've actually been in isolation for almost 2 weeks now. So I've been trying to do a bit of a Twitter blog, as it were, of my isolation living with my 2 kids. So you can read on there how that's gone. And
we had a bit of an argument over what you call a bun or a bap or a roll over Twitter. We've had teabag throwing competitions with our military engagement teams. Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, we had
a bath, by the way.
We had an argument with someone, because I do another show which is transatlantic, right? So we had this argument about what a crumpet was called, because Americans, they believe a crumpet is an English muffin, and I was like,
yeah,
it's a crumpet. It's like, So anyway,
sacrilege.
So that's West Mids Poppy or Royal British Legion.
So we're West Mids Poppy or West Mids British Legion, and Jenny, yours is slightly different.
So yeah, mine's more localised. So I have Poppy Appeal Shropshire on Facebook, or I think I'm Shropshire Poppy on Twitter. Not on Instagram just yet. Or I'm on LinkedIn as well. So if anyone's kind of in the professional realm and is interested in what we're doing locally and want to connect with me, I'm just on there as Jennifer Robey, which is Robey, because nobody never knows how to spell it. Or once I get married, it'll be a nightmare because he's half Greek. So I'll be spelling it again.
I was on a live Facebook. Sorry, excuse me. It was Facebook Live, but I was on a live podcast last night, and he was like, "Hi, I've got Alex Whitley with me right now," and I was like, "It's Whiteley. Stop it." Welcome to my world. I want to give these guys as well. It's Shropshire Armed Forces Covenant on Facebook. Give them a follow. Really good. As I've been talking to you guys, I've been having a good browse on their Facebook now. Really good chaps by the looks of it. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really nice talking to you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And when you guys are up and running and you do get your events back, or there's some sort of planning involved, I don't know, we can help you. We can help you, and so we can do this again. It'd be nice to do it in person, of course.
Yeah.
But this option is always
definitely come and join me during the Poppy Appeal as well. It's a bizarre time of year for when you're on the other side of it. We call it the other side of the poppy, and it's nice to come and see the behind the scenes and see what our volunteers actually do. Because using a military phrase, they dig out blind during the Poppy Appeal. They are incredible.
Wow.
And they work some really long hours, really long days, and do an amazing job. So yeah, come and join us. It'd be fantastic.
I'll tell you what, right? Once we're up and about, once the country's up and about, and you do have an event, how's about we bring a table, some chairs, and a studio, and we set up at your place, and we just speak to some of the users of that community.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. Awesome.
There we go. I like that. I really like that. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining this episode. Thank you, Julie. It's been nice speaking to you. Really nice speaking to you. Me and the Biscuiteers, we've been apart for so long, and we've not been doing anything because of all this craziness. It's nice to do this. Stay at home, guys. It's crazy out there. It's a beautiful weather. You can go in the garden. You can go for an hour exercise, whatever you. But don't take the Michael. This is a serious issue, and we've all got to work together. Support local businesses as well. I mean, this show is sponsored by our friends at Gin Different, and although their stores might not be open at the moment, you can still give them a follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So, I mean, this is a perfect time while you're sat there scrolling on your phones to have a look at local businesses on Instagram and Facebook and just give them a follow and let them, and the British Legion as well, the Facebook pages that were just mentioned. Give them a follow. That follow, that like is support. Okay, so go out and do that. This has been great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Guys, make sure you check out our website as well before we sign off properly. Our website is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to our audio directly from the website. You don't have to bother with Podbean or anything like that. And it looks great, and that's made by our friends at Web Orchard. Again, thank you guys, and take it easy.
Bye.
Guys, bye.